Hey friends, welcome back to another video. So I decided to make a quick little video about implantation bleeding. I don't know how many people other than me have looked on the internet and searched this and have been looking for, like, you know, the TMI photos. Like, yes, I want to see everything, girl. Says, show me all of it. Like, I want to see everything, because when you're going through TTC journey and you're having all of these weird things happen, especially around your menstrual cycle, when you're looking to get that positive pregnancy test to miss that period and there's weird things going on, you want answers, right? You really want answers. And I feel like sometimes the internet on this topic isn't good with giving direct answers. I know that it's something that only a third of pregnant women get, and there's just like all these different theories about it, and you know, we don't know yet, and it's a possibility, and you can have a period while pregnant, you won't bleed at all. Like, there's just all this stuff. I feel like sometimes people who have had this experience aren't sharing more on the internet about it and making videos, because we all know YouTube is the spot where people do their first research. Let's be real. I've decided I'm gonna share my experience on my little corner of the internet, so you guys can either relate, ask questions from what I know. I'm not a doctor, but maybe we can compare experiences and help each other out. Who knows, okay? I'm just here trying to shed a little bit of light on maybe what could be happening. Go ahead and get a drink. I have mine. You know, it's a sit down, so it's gonna be just a little bit. I'm gonna try to make this really short and to the point. Let's get into the video. Implantation bleeding, something, like I said, that everyone is curious about, because it's this thing where when you think that you're going to have your period and it doesn't come, but then it does come, you're wondering, is this implantation bleeding? Is this not? Am I pregnant? I don't know. Like, it's one of those things where it's really up in the air. When you're really TTC hard and like you're really trying to have that baby, you really want that BFP, you will literally think that your menstrual cycle is just implantation bleeding. And that's just what happens. Sometimes we get a little obsessed and we just want to deny that it's not Aunt Flo. We just want to think that the witch is dead and she's not coming, but she did. She came in full flow. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into the definition so we can kind of get a better idea of what implantation is before I start getting into my experience, so you guys kind of have like a foundation. I am reading off of the American Pregnancy Association.org. Says implantation bleeding is when the 6 to 12 days old fertilized egg attaches to the interior lining of the uterus. Something known as implantation bleeding may occur. This movement of the egg can result in light bleeding, spotting, which is completely normal and should not require any type of medical condition. Generally, a third of pregnant women will experience implantation bleeding. While similar to a timing of a woman's menstrual period, the two are different. So the next thing it says is implantation bleeding symptoms. So some of the symptoms that you might have are light, faint cramping or less than normal cramping of a period, mood swings, headaches, nausea, breast tenderness, and lower back aches. Pretty much all that it says. Like I said, everything is kind of vague on the internet about this topic. It's like maybe just the surface stuff. You know, there's tons of research, but at the end of the day, who really knows? Everybody's body is different. My experience, I am going to insert pictures for you who are wanting to be all up in my business. I know who you are, because I am that girl. I am her, okay? She is me. I want to know everything. So I'm gonna insert pictures for all of you guys who wanna see. I know YouTube might try to take down my video for this, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to post a blurred picture here, and I'm going to make sure that I have timestamps in the video, so wherever you see that picture and that timestamp, there will be a file link down below, and you can click that file and go into it, and you'll be able to see the picture of it. So that way I'm not getting in trouble on YouTube and no one tries to report my video as being inappropriate, because you know, those are those people on the internet who just want to be trolls. Okay, we're just trying to find information. If you don't like videos like this, then just click out, okay? Just click out, it's fine. I'm going to backtrack to my third cycle, because I've had 2 cycles that this has happened. And when I reference third cycle, we've been trying for a little bit over a year, in the sense of when I stopped taking birth control and had unprotected sex. But we have been trying with tracking my ovulation for about 4 months now. So I was doing the whole thing wrong. If you want to see that video about how I was tracking my ovulation wrong, you can go ahead and look down below. I'll have it linked in the description box. But yes, I did that. It was terrible. We've learned, we moved on. So anyway, my third cycle of tracking with my ovulation, I was sure that I had implantation bleeding. All of the signs were there. Everything was checking out with the pictures on Google and the different forms of people saying what it looked like from what they could tell me in words, and everything was matching up, but I ended up not being pregnant. So starting with the first sign of me thinking that I had implantation bleeding was 6 days before my expected period. So my period is usually around 2 to 3 days, and it's very short. Usually it's very light. That's kind of what it's been all my life. I've had some cycles where it's a little bit heavier and I don't know what's going on, but for the most part it's 2 to 3 days, and it's pretty light. Like, it's not anything to where I would have to change my tampon 4 times a day. I was having like mild light cramping, but not really, and I was really confused. And I want to add this in here, me and my husband had just had sex the day before. So in my head, I'm thinking, oh, like, that's not gonna affect it. But I did find out on the internet that stress, exercise, and sexual intercourse can make your period come earlier than its expected date. It's between the 3 to 5 window day before your menstrual starts. I had went to the bathroom, I did a little wipe, and all of a sudden I see this light pink reddish color. Now, before, when I've had my period or I was starting my period, it was never that light. It's always been like a red, like a darker red tinge. I'm like, oh, my period's coming. But this time it was super, super, super light, super faint, and it, like I said, it looked like it had like a mix of CM or something in it. It was really weird though, because I wasn't sure what to think at that moment. I wasn't having these insane cramps, which I do get cramps in my period. They're not like super, super like these powerful cramps where they hurt really bad, but they do hurt, and they tend to go into like my left leg. They just really hurt my left leg a lot, and that's usually how I get my cramps. And so I wasn't getting that, so I was really, really confused as to why this was happening to me. And so I was like, you know what, let me do some research, you know, because when things happen and symptoms, you just go to Google. That's what you're supposed to do, right, DTC? So I went on Google and I just started searching all of the stuff about implantation bleeding, because I knew it was a thing, but I wasn't sure if I was going to experience it. They do say first time pregnant women do experience it. So all I could think is, let me see if this is, you know, relatable to any other women, if anyone has any pictures that looks like this. So I'm searching all over the internet, and I do find pictures that look exactly like what I've seen. So I started to get really excited, and I was like, okay, they said it should only last 2 to 3 days maybe, and it should be really light, not enough to fill a whole pad, but only enough to fill a panty liner or half a tampon. So that's what I'm going off of, because that's what people are saying. So I go ahead and I slap a panty liner on my underwear, I continue with my day. At night, the same thing happened, wiped, same thing, really, really light, looks like CM's mixed in it. I felt like, you know, I'm feeling good about this. Now, they say you cannot test for pregnancy. I believe it's 1 to 2 days after implantation bleeding. So at this point, I'm not really worried about the pregnancy test. I'm just tracking the implantation bleeding. The next day, I woke up and I went ahead and checked my panty liner from the night before, and there was literally nothing on there. It looked like it was like maybe a hint of something that could have been there, like a start of like a period, but didn't start. It was the weirdest thing, and you guys will see it in the picture. Like, it was just, it was weird, because it was like, okay, my period didn't start, so what is going on? Is this just like old blood that's like trying to leak through, which they say a lot of times that happens with implantation bleeding. So at this point, I'm thinking like, okay, no, this has to be implantation bleeding. Like, you know, we'll wait until day 3, but like, this has to be it. And so again, going on Google, searching forums, seeing, and I'm seeing pictures that looks like this on Google from different women, not finding any videos, but just finding different pictures on the internet that I can compare to. And you know, that's what I went off of. Third day of the bleeding, this is when I knew that like I had no doubt in my mind that this was implantation bleeding. And when you look at the picture, you'll see what I'm talking about. It was like the littlest speck that I have ever seen in my life. Like, the definition of implantation bleeding was that. And so I was very confused as to what was going on with my body. Called and scheduled like a video conference call with my OB. She was saying like, yeah, it has to be like, you know, that's what it would look like. And all of these different things was going on. And they were like, no, you're right, you're right, you're right. I waited until the next day to take my pregnancy test, negative. Waited till the next day to take my pregnancy test, negative. So 2 days in a row after implantation bleeding, both negative tests. And when I called my OB again, she said that it could have just been a very, very light period and she wanted me to come in and run some tests and stuff. So I ended up doing that, and I'm still waiting on those results. But yes, guys, it was not implantation bleeding. I was so upset because literally the pictures were like the definition of implantation bleeding, which goes to show that everybody's body is like different. But at the same time, it's like, what? Like, what? Why does our bodies have to be so weird? That was the first time I experienced something like implantation bleeding in a cycle. The next one was my previous cycle that just happened. I did a video with my pregnancy test if you guys would like to see that. I have it linked down below. But the bleeding started off exactly the same how it did that cycle where I thought I had it. It was like this light pinkish, looked like sebum in it. And then the next day it was the same thing. So at this point I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is just what's going on with my period. Maybe something weird's going on with my body. Maybe I'm not shedding enough blood from my uterus, like whatever, my uterus, the uterus lining. Maybe it's stress, maybe it's hormones. I don't know what's going on. Actually, I had to schedule another appointment because it's just getting very weird. And I was one of those people that just wanted some answers, just wanted to know and wanted to be able to relate or find someone who can like give me a good idea or a range of what it could look like or what it could be. I feel like mine was a really good example of what implantation bleeding can look like and you still not be pregnant. And that's what I was kind of looking for. It's just like, tell me something that I can relate to that maybe it is and maybe it's not. I don't know. But the best way to know if you're pregnant is always a pregnancy test. So regardless if you're bleeding, regardless if it is implantation bleeding, or if it's not, take your pregnancy test. Just do it, because that'll be your peace of mind to know. Even if Aunt Flo doesn't come in full effect, at least you'll know, you know, hey, I tested, I'm not pregnant. And then if you want another form of peace of mind, just test a little bit later if you're still not sure. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was good information for you. I'll put some resources down about implantation bleeding that I've looked at. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I'm not telling you what is and what is not. I'm just telling you from my experience and hoping that it can help you in your journey. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't, and like this video so we can get circulating on the internet so other people can get another perspective or another story to help them on their journey. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in another video. Bye.